Hello, good morning and a good afternoon, good evening. Hi, Naomi. Hi,
Hey.
everyone. How are you? Can you hear us and see us? Let us know. Yes, yes, yes. Love it. Love it. Happy Saturday. So I want to say again, welcome everyone. And I'm so glad you are here. For those who do not know me, I'm Fumiko and the founder of the Face Yoga Method. And I have with me today Naomi, our teacher certification course specialist. And she manages the program and she teaches inside it. And she went through it herself as a student before any of that. So she knows this program from every angle possible. Right, Naomi?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to see your beautiful faces.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. So before we start, okay, I love to do this. Can you type in the chat where you're joining from? I love seeing all the different places because I like traveling too. And every time we do one of these, it reminds me how far this community reaches. Okay, so let's read where you are joining from. Romania, I've been there. Barcelona, I've been there. Canada, I used to live there. And US and Germany, Iceland, California, that's where I live. And Norway, Italy, Nova Scotia, Canada. My brother lived there. London, UK, Nairobi, Pittsburgh, and and Norway. Oh, how, like Estonia. Ah, how, I mean, think about that. Thank you, technology. We are able to connect like this, but also it brings so much international energy. And I really, really, I love this. So thank you so much. And today, I want to open up the program completely and I show you the full picture and nothing held back. And what it is and what's it like to be inside and what it really takes and what's possible on the other side. And we have about 90 minutes together today, right, Naomi? Yeah. And then Naomi and I will be talking most of it. And then we will open up for your questions at the end. And if anything comes up along the way, please feel free to drop it in the chat and we'll come back to it. And then one more thing before we start, I want to ask you something. Please be honest, okay? And even just with yourself. How many of you have already taken some kind of certification, a course, a training, a weekend program? I've done so many of that, okay? And how many of you walked away from feeling like that was okay? I got a paper and that was okay. But nothing really changed. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, what was that? It changed everything. How many of you felt like, it was okay? Please type yes in the chat if that's you. Okay, good. Yep, yep. I have so many certification that I took it and it was okay. I even forgot that I have it. And Naomi, do you have any any of
I
experience like that?
do. I was just like, ouch. I literally did one last year and I was like, oops.
Yeah, it's okay, right? You learn it. I mean, it's great. It's nothing wrong, right? Okay, there's some okay. Yep, yep, yep. We got that. So that's what I thought. And that's exactly where I want to start. So here is what most certification ask you to do. Memorize this and practice that and get your certificate. And you do it because you are committed. And you show up, you study, you complete everything they ask. But think about this. Memorizing is not the same as learning. And the learning is not the same as being able to teach. And there's a big difference between knowing something and truly understanding it. the layers, the context, why a pose walks the way it does, and what's happening underneath. And there's another difference between understanding it and being able to stand in front of your student and know what they need in the moment, adapt, and actually help them. Because every student is different and every face is different. And even my face, it changes every day, depending on what I ate the night before. And you can know a pose perfectly, perfectly, perfectly perfect, and still not know what to do when someone in front of you cannot do it, or should not do it, or needs something slightly different or adjustment. And the skill doesn't come from memorizing it. It comes from doing and from practicing, from someone watching you and then giving you real feedback. And that does not happen in a weekend course. It doesn't happen in a PDF. Like I said, I have lots of PDF. Sometimes I even don't remember, oh, I have that PDF. Let me go check. Okay. It happens when every module is supported by a live session. And when you can ask, discuss, and then go deeper. And when every live session is reinforced by assignments, that makes you actually apply what you learned. And when you have a community of women going through the same journey, so that between sessions, that learning does not stop. When every single element, every session, every workshop, every assignment, every piece of support is there for a reason, and everything is intentional. And I want to hear from women who tried other path first. Deanne, lovely Deanne, came to us having already graduated from another certification. And she said, I left feeling completely incomplete. I searched for something more. And then she phoned us. I mean, think about that. I left feeling completely incomplete. It's just so strong, so powerful. And then Pascal researched certifications across Europe and North America before choosing Face Yoga Method teacher certification course. And she said, other courses are 30 minutes in a weekend, pre-recorded, and there's nothing to compare with this certification.
And
And
can I add just
yeah,
one thing for
go.
Deanna? Because she still is strong in my heart. I still remember the day she joined us,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Yeah, I'm a face yoga teacher, and I've taught classes, but I've gone into an actual classroom and didn't know what to do because the problems that people come with and their faces are so different. And I've never learned the details of why I'm doing what. So I could only teach a pose, but didn't know the fundamentals. And that's why she came to us. And
Ah,
now she's so confident, right?
yeah, yeah, almost like confident that in the other part of her life are changing because she feels so good, so, so powerful inside. And she just didn't know how powerful she can be. Thank you, Naomi. Yeah. DM, wonderful story. Thank you. Okay. So this is exactly what we'll build against, and that is what I want to show you today. Not the fastest certification, I have to say, and not the easiest one either, but the most complete one. And ran the first certification in Japan 2010, long time ago, and then waited 7 years before running again. And it's not because, I forgot about it, or it's not because I wanted, well, not because I forgot about it, but because I wanted to do it right. I really wanted to refine that. And after launching it online, I did not stop. And every single year, something gets better. A new workshops and a deeper module, more support. And I know that I drove crazy, my team crazy because I said, I want to change that. I want to add that. Even Naomi rolled the eyes like, do you need that? Like, yeah, I want to put that because I know that is going to be so good. So the face yoga method teacher certification course never stops evolving. And because the certificate on its own doesn't change anything, right? But the program that keeps evolving and growing, that changes everything.
For sure. Can I just say something?
Yes.
I know from personal experience, I went through what you're thinking about, this teacher certification program myself before I even stood on this side. So when Fumiko talks about the difference, I really understand what she means. I mean, it was really an incredible comprehensive certification course when I did it numerous years ago. But today, face yoga is everywhere. I'm sure many of you found us through social media, right? I see a couple of head bobs right now. And that's a great thing. It means it actually works. People are taking it in. But that also means that it's really important for a certification course to ensure that the students understand why behind what we teach and who is actually teaching is also even more important now than ever. And that's what I really appreciate about Fumiko and this Face Yoga Method Teacher Certification course, because we continue to evolve within the main intention of this course and the evolvements that we've done. Like Fumiko said, a couple of new workshops here and there, a couple of other new initiatives here and there. This continuous evolvement only happens because we're thinking about every year, how do we help each student become their own best version and a teacher in this current environment? So social media has changed. We didn't have social media back then. So the way the course is and how it's delivered to you has changed and it will continue to change. So the main point here is so that you can guide others with clarity, confidence, intention, and care.
Thank you, Naomi. Yeah, that's so true. And also, as a face yoga teachers, we are evolving. We are learning so much more. And the more we learn, interesting, the more we feel like I want to learn more because there's so many layers that I didn't even think about it when I certified Naomi back then. But at the time, I gave myself like 100% what I knew. So everything is evolving, and you are in the right place. Okay. So, um, I want to tell you how this program came to exist. Okay. Because you might be wondering, because it did not start with a plan. It started with a nurse. Like, what? A nurse. A male nurse in Japan, Mr. Nakano, I can tell his name, had seen me on television. And he worked in a hospital with elderly patients. It was a kind of in rehabilitation in a hospital. And he believed face yoga could help them, not for aesthetics reasons, but for muscle tone and for expressions and for the way face shows the world who you are inside. Because what he was doing at hospital, he said it was boring. It was like it's boring, it's like a repetitive. But when he saw me on TV, he's like, this is so fun, but very similar to what he been doing for his patients. So he wrote to me and asked me to certify him. And I said, no, no, thank you. And he wrote again. I said, no, no again. I said, I'm not interested, sorry, in certifying people. And then this went on, I think it's almost 2 years. Can you believe it? He was so persistent. And I think about that a lot, not just his persistence, but what he meant. And this was someone who walked with people in pain every single day, especially elderly, and who looked at face yoga differently. And I thought this could help them, which I didn't have in my head at the time. But at the time, I was not ready. I mean, I just moved to United States. I got married, and a certification program was the last thing on my mind. And then when I got pregnant, a few months later, we learned that Nina, my daughter Nina, has Down syndrome. So something inside me shifted. People with Down syndrome often have a lower muscle tone, the body and little muscle tone, and then that include a face. And I start thinking, like, why? Why she chose me? But also, what could face yoga do for this unborn baby? Because I was too pregnant, right? And not for how she looks, but for expression, for muscle. Because I know faces are muscles. So I know how to exercise and tone the muscle. But also, for this newborn baby, for the way face shows the world who you are inside. And there's also a very interesting moment here. Before that, before I even got pregnant, and before the nurse came to ask me to certify him, one of the last TV shows I did in Japan before I left, um, the director asked me, Miss Fumiko, what do you want to use face yoga for in the future? That was in an interview on a TV show. And without even thinking, and I said, like, I want to spread face yoga not just for aesthetics reasons, but for the elderly or for people with special needs, disabilities, for the people who actually need it. Like that was before. Like I said, I was not pregnant. So when I found about the Nina's diagnosis, when I thought about this life growing inside of me, like I felt like it was sign, almost like, oh, I manifested what I said in the TV show. And it was like this is something I meant to do. And that I need to take this farther. And I need to do something meaningful with it. And around the same time, that time I started to see everything differently. Like what the nurse had been asking me and what Nina was showing me. And like suddenly connected. A face yoga was not just about beauty. It could reach people who need it most. And 3 days after giving birth, there was an emergency C-section, and I was already writing a face yoga article for a Japanese magazine. And in 3 days, I cut my tummy. And I was exhausted, but also very excited. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. In a way, I cannot even describe. And I had a newborn, and yet there I was. And a doctor actually came into my room, and I could not understand what I was doing. He rolled his eyes, like, what are you doing? And I remember stopping for a moment and looking at myself, like, I realized that I just can't stop. This is who I am. I have so much passion, so much, a thing that I cannot even describe that I want to do it. And even when I had every reason to stop, I just could not stop. I could not put it down. And then that realization finally made me right back to the nurse. I said, yes, okay, I'll do it. And I wrote the curriculum in a parking lots when Nina was in therapy. And 3 o'clock, 4 in the morning, I wrote the curriculum because with a newborn and especially a special needs baby, first time mother, you can use every single seconds you can find, right, to do something for you. So I had no template, no plan, just everything I had built over the years of practice, trying to put into a word. And the first certification ran in Japan, 2010. Nina was only 6 months old. And there's four students. The nurse was, of course, one of them. And while I taught, this is so funny, but I was still breastfeeding Nina every 2 hours, right? So my parents waited outside the studio, I was teaching with her. No, they were waited outside in the studio where I was teaching. And then every 2 hours, they would bring Nina to me. And I would stop outside and then I step outside and then I had to feed her under the scarf my parents were holding on the street. And I had to walk back inside the studio and continue. And on the last day, I told the students about Nina. And this wasn't just about looking younger. It was about expression, about what a face can show the world. And I'm sorry, it was a very emotional moment. And then, not for me, but for my student. And the male nurse cried because he didn't know the story, why I'm so passionate. And he said, now I know why I want to do this one. So sorry about that. Okay. So in retrospect, I'm forever, forever grateful, Mr. Nakano, pushing me to create the certification course because I didn't think it was possible. Okay. And then, sorry. Oh, and speaking of Nina, oh my gosh, tomorrow is her 16th birthday. So she helped me to create this program, Mr. Nakano, and then it started with a nurse, but it became something much bigger than I thought. And that is what you're stepping into today. So that's a story. Whew, okay, let's sip the water, okay? And then that was September 2010. Anita was only 6 months old. And today we have over 1,053 students in 91 countries. What do you think of that? Sometimes I stop and think about the number because every one of those people made a decision at some point. Just like the one you're considering right now. And Naomi did that too, and Diana did that too, Pascal did that too. And some are already in wellness and they wanting to add something more meaningful, something like they feel more passion for. And some are ready for a completely new chapter in their lives. And some felt like quiet and a persistent, a pull that they could not quite explain. They're like, I don't know why, but I just want to do it. And decided to stop ignoring the tiny voice. And none of these reasons are wrong. I think the reasons, are there for us. And Naomi, you came to TCC from a very, very different place, right? Can you share a little story, your story?
Sure. Yeah, I'd be honored. So, sorry, I'm still kind of emotional after Nina's story, but yeah, I'll try my best. Anywho, everyone. So from the outside, my life looked exactly how I hoped it would be. So I had built a successful career in capital markets. I was achieving, I was striving, I was providing extremely well materialistically for my family, but something didn't feel right. I still remember watching my kids open their Christmas presents from Santa Claus on Christmas morning, not watching them, but through a video my husband would send me year after year because I'd be at the office working. Several Christmases later went by, then it hit me. I was like, I wasn't living the life that I wanted, that I was working so hard for. I knew something had to change and I wanted more. More, not the materialistic, but more meaningful. And I knew I had to get out of this rat race to lead that meaningful life. So I stepped away and began a new path. I must say, stepping away from something like that was excruciatingly hard. It took me months of literally sleepless nights to figure what I really needed to do. I became a Hatha Vinyasa yoga teacher. And during that time, I found face yoga method and face yoga. The reason why I started was just for my own self, my own face. But then as I continued, I watched these women posting inside the community of their own transformation, their before and afters, their internal transformations, and they were beautiful. They were like mind-blowing. And I found myself thinking, what if I could be a part of that? So I literally immediately jumped into the Face Yoga Method teacher certification course. And what I found was so much more than I expected. The depth, the understanding, the way you're supported to really become a teacher. And somewhere along the way, something really shifted in me. Capital markets, you're result oriented. It's like, how much can you make money, right? Something shifted after this course. I wasn't just focused on the results. I wasn't focused on that one wrinkle. I became more intentional and I became more aware. I became a face yoga teacher. And after I graduated, I started workshops with small groups from the comfort of my home. That was a lot of fun. And then the groups became larger and larger. And then students started asking for private lessons. So now I predominantly teach private sessions in my own business, and I get to lead classes inside the Face Yoga Method membership program. I'll never forget when one of my students, I've been teaching for several years in the private session, said to me with so much excitement, with so much joy, and the sparkle in her face and in her eyes. And she kind of took me for a moment and she said, "You're truly making a difference in me more than you know." And that's when things really landed for me. Fumiko's Change Your Face, Change Your Life is not just for students. Because as you graduate, as a graduate of the Face Yoga Method teacher certification course, it's about the impact that you get to have in someone else's life. And that is something that I could have never achieved in my corporate career. You can't put a price tag on that. It's truly a priceless experience as a teacher. And now being on this side of the program, managing it and teaching it, I get to watch our students go through the exact same thing, but more, more than what I had when I went through it. Like I said earlier, the program has grown so much because Fumiko is growing, because we love evolving based off how everything in the world is evolving. And I see what it does to all of these students in every single cohort. There's always something beautiful. Fumiko and I always shed multiple joyful tears with our students.
I know. Thank you, Naomi. Such a beautiful story. Like we sometimes say like, oh my gosh. And then yeah, we cry, right? Looking at
Yeah.
change. Yeah, it's such a it's I don't know, it's funny because we are teaching, we are helping students, but they're helping us to feel so helping us to be a better version of ourselves. Right? I don't
Absolutely.
yeah, and Naomi, I remember you said that once, like, I don't know what TCC is doing to me. I'm just feeling, yeah, I'm feeling so different. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just for people who don't know me, I've rarely shed a tear before before becoming a face yoga teacher, and now it's just so emotional and it's so touching. It's the side that I've never experienced in the corporate world. I'm like, give me a tissue a lot of times, and they're joyous. They're so joyful. It puts so much meaning in both sides of the lives, right?
Yeah, you had that, but I guess you didn't tap into that, or you really developed the corporate, strong personality. Yeah, and I remember you told us like, oh, I'm so, I was so used to being shut out, like people just, you know,
Oh yeah.
so yeah, but that's a different, it's good. We have a both world, left and right, and male, female. So now, now you know why I asked Naomi to join us because she has experienced this program for both sides, and she knows what it feels like to be sitting where you're right now, and she also knows what possible on the other side. So let me show you what this program actually looks like from the inside. And more importantly, what you walk away with. The teacher certification course is 6 months 100 hours and it's built in layers. And Naomi, can you take over this?
Yeah, sure. I want to show you exactly what those 6 months look like because I think when you actually see it versus just hearing it, it hits differently. So, and don't worry, everyone, please do not take out your notepads or try taking screenshots. All this information is waiting for you on the page when you apply. So please, we just ask you to stay present. This is just to give you a sense of what's ahead. So let's go on into the calendar. I know, a little bit small, but you can see it's a lot of content. This is the full program calendar. Every live workshop with Fumiko, the pose workshop, the teaching workshop, the business mindset workshop, every module release from June 1st all the way down to December when we have our graduation party. This is what the schedule looks like. Look at how much is in here. This isn't just a course you buy and you forget and you're like, it's not one of those courses. It's very different. There's something happening every single week, someone there with you. The learning never stops. We start on day one, June 1st. That's when we open up a welcome workshop. All of us together. And from the moment you are inside this course. Please take a look, have a go at it. This is what 100 hours actually looks like. Every pillar starts with the pre-recorded content, the foundation, the science, the poses, the teaching principles. But that pre-recorded content is not the actual program. It's just the starting point. The live workshops are where everything goes in deeper, where you get the context, the nuance, the understanding, the experience of teaching that you simply can't get by watching a video. The combination from foundation to the live depth is how you understand this method. Not just what you know, but how to approach and teach it as a teacher. And by the time you graduate, you don't get just a new skill. You have a new level of confidence in yourself as a teacher. You see the method differently. You see yourself differently. We've watched it happen in every single cohort. Women come in as one person and they graduate as a better version of themselves. Let us show you how.
Thank you, Naomi. So you come out as a true expert in the method. So my workshops go deep into the anatomy and the science and the philosophy behind every pose. Yep, the philosophy part. This is something I love to talk about too. So it's not just what to do, but why it works. And the depth is what makes a difference. And between someone, let's say, who simply teaches poses with memorization and someone who truly understands what they're doing, and your students will feel that difference immediately. And if you're already in wellness, if you already have clients who trust you, I mean, that is what takes that trust to a completely different level. Okay. And before I move on, I want to hear this from someone who's been through it. Okay. Martina said, the point of the course is to make me think as a teacher, to explain the benefits. It's not about learning something by heart. Oh, I love that. Makes you think as a teacher, right? And the Bonnie, who had done comprehensive fitness course before teacher certification course, he said, Fumiko's face yoga method is very unique. Nothing like any other course I did in the past. Thank you, Bonnie. Is what students will feel from day one. The feeling, yeah, that makes a difference. It's not just a memorization of the poses, but the feeling makes you stay longer or your students stay longer.
Absolutely. And I must say, I think that's one of the things that kind of helps students lower that sense of nervousness
Mm.
because from day one, Fumiko, you say, we're not testing you if you know all of the facial muscles names because they're all Latin. They're pretty hard to memorize, right? Like, that's not what it is. You need to be able to feel it on your face and get your students to feel it on their face. It's not about memorization at all. And I really like that because I personally, I cannot memorize anything for my life. So it was really hard when I was like, oh, so many 60 plus muscles, what? And now we're not. So that's great. All right, so let's go on to the other workshop that I'd love to introduce to you that we have inside our teacher certification course. You come out with mastery of the poses themselves. So this is the pose workshop run by Maria Papakidi here on the picture. It goes into the level of precision that changes how you practice as a self and how you could potentially teach each pose. Once you become a face yoga teacher, you will soon realize each face is very different. Fumiko touched on this. Every face is absolutely different. So in this workshop, she will prepare you to teach different types of faces from the day you graduate because she'll be teaching you very different variations for the exact same pose. Now, your student is going to feel or know the difference between a teacher who knows a pose versus you who have gone through these pose workshops who have actually mastered it because you'll know how to make the right adjustments based off of the face. Now, in these workshops, she'll also double check if you're doing the most challenging poses correctly yourself. And as she teaches and navigates a person who could have slight adjustments, even if it's not you, you will learn firsthand how she adjusts and guides students as an experienced face yoga teacher. I'll give you an example. Jordan is a holistic esthetician. She came to TCC, teacher certification course, to go deeper for her clients. She said, the feedback I received at the final assessment truly helped me retweak what I was doing. I cannot thank this course enough. And Denise said something I hear again and again. I feel very confident in being able to teach face yoga with knowledge just because of all the great information Fumiko provides. That confidence, it's built in, not assumed.
Mm, powerful. Yeah.
We love those workshops. Students love those workshops as well. You learn so many things about just one simple pose because there's so much depth that Fumiko has put into it. Now we're going to move into the other workshop you also get to join, and that's going to be, hi, that's me. So you come out knowing exactly how to structure and lead a class. The teaching workshops that I teach give you something most certifications skip entirely, and that's the actual skill of teaching. How to structure a session, how to sequence poses, to make them effective, how to guide a student through the experience, how to read the room and adapt when what you planned isn't what the moment actually needed. So that's not something you're born with. It's something that you learn and practice over and over and over again. Take it from me. I'm from capital markets. I never have to teach someone anything. Presentations, yes, but never teach. But I came out, okay. So what what this does is this is like I love teaching this workshop because I get to see students who are like, I cannot talk in front of people in my life, transform into confident teachers. But because even if you try to study a method deeply and know everything in the back of your mind, you can still freeze in front of a group. That takes practice. And the teaching workshops are where the fear goes away that, oh my God, I might freeze out the door. And then it's you're kind of you get that practice, you get all that brainstorming, and you're ready to go in. So in the details, we teach how to teach face yoga classes in general, obviously, but also you get to brainstorm with a small group of people inside the workshop to think about how to sequence a class. And then you get hands-on practice of teaching in a small group, and very important, safe and supportive. And that's how we grow together. So it's not something that we just say, yeah, you're ready, you're ready, you're ready. Mm-mm. We have these environments, pockets of environments to make sure you're safe, you're supported, and you practice over and over again throughout this course. This is one of the things I love the most is Naomi Boldery. Before she joined TCC, she had no teaching experience whatsoever. She was in marketing, and she said, it doesn't matter. You will find your own spin in a way to teach that works for you. And I think this speaks uh, wonders like a lot. And I'm sure you get a snippet of Fumiko if you know her, but once you come into this course, you will really, really understand what this statement means because Fumiko sees every one of her students. She loves nurturing the strengths. And that's what we're all about. You're not trying to become the next Fumiko. You're trying to become the best teacher that you can be because we're not all the same. And that is one of the key cornerstones for us inside this course of making sure that you feel like you're being nurtured with yourself, not trying to replicate Fumiko, not trying to copy and paste, because that's not going to get you too far. Now, Caroline also got her first paying client the same week she graduated. She said, I learned about the teaching method and being more adaptable. Now, you don't need to be a teacher before you start. You become one inside the teacher certification course.
Oh, thank you, Naomi. It's just so beautiful when I remember all those names. Like, oh, right?
Right?
How they came out and then how they joined and how they came out. It's like we were witnessing the journey of transformation, from
Yeah.
different type of people from different countries. And yeah, I love that. Thank you. So let's talk about this one too. Okay. You don't really go through any of this alone. I know some will be like, okay, that sounds interesting, but ooh, it's a little scary still. We have a study groups between live sessions, or we create study groups. This is not the required, but based on the place you live and time zone, and we encourage people to make a study group together because that keeps the momentum and excitement and a support. And then study groups between live sessions means the learning never stops. It's not just the workshop we're giving, but you are learning together. The community you built inside this cohort doesn't disappear when the program ends. I want to give you this example. So these four girls from all different countries, they decided to call themselves Wild Girls. So they got together, they speak, Spanish, and they are almost like the best friends ever, even though they never met. They supported each other, of course, during the class. During the course, they made a t-shirts, they have the mug together. But what I liked about that one is when somebody is not really feeling well, emotionally not motivated, all that, other members support it. And when they graduated, yeah, they are still so close that they are keeping in touch and communicating each other. How wonderful is that? They feel like they found that their soulmates in different countries. So they call it wild girls. I call it wild girls too. Yeah, and these are women who really understand what you're building, what you're going through, because they're building it too. And when I hear most from graduates, is that it didn't feel like it's an online course. Yes, it's an online course, but they didn't feel like that. Like a while ago, they felt like they found their soulmates. It felt like they were part of something bigger. than they thought they are. And that feeling stays with you and long after the program ends. Even like I said, Naomi and I still feel some of the students when I think about them, we're like, oh, get emotional because we are really going through this together. Not just students, not as a teacher, but together. Okay? And Lena said, I have never seen a community this supportive and lovely like this CCC. And Lindsay from the UK said, so many different people from different paths of the world. The sense of community made a huge difference throughout the program. Yay, that's what I wanted to. And those women came from different countries, right? You are coming from different countries and a different background, different starting points, and different personalities and different life stories. And they found each other. And that community doesn't disappear when the program ends. It's yours forever to keep. And let's talk about you're ready to build, okay? Not just teach. What does it mean? The business and the mindset workshops with Maria Calancini, my sister-in-law and the co-founder of the Face Yoga Method, who has been instrumental in building the teacher certification course into what it is today. Go far beyond tactics. So let me tell you a little bit more, okay? So the tactics are in the program, all the things you need to know in the program. But Maria's workshops are something else entirely. So what she does is a very few people actually can do this, but help you walk through what gets in the way. Yep, your mind, the self-doubt many of us have or had, okay, the feeling of not being ready or not, worthy or not being enough or not being qualified. Okay, I hear people say, I'm not ready. I'll do it when I'm ready. Like, no, you are ready. It's all in your mind. That belief that stop you from moving forward. Well, even when you are ready, have everything you need, right? Have you ever had anything like that experience? Like you are ready, everything you're ready, but you just can't move forward because something stops you, usually in your mind. Because you can know how to teach and have every tactic in the world and still not not succeed if your mind is working against you. And Maria will help you shift that. Okay. And one of our graduates in Germany, Nadine, posted on Facebook the day, okay, after she graduated, on the day. And she didn't run any ad or she didn't have a website. No, she just talked about face yoga and shared a picture. And she said, 45 women wrote to me that they are interested, and I didn't even make an advertisement. And then she said, like, I didn't know what to do with those 45 people, 45 women, because everything is ready, but there's something stopping her. But with help of Maria's mindset workshop, she was able to just like take off from there. And Diana, who came to us having already completed another certification, she said, my face has changed. My mind has changed. My finances have changed. And my soul is deeply happy. Remember, Naomi? Diana came to the graduation party with her husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's in the health industry too. I think chiropractor or something. I don't remember. But he told us that, yeah, Diana changed and also he changed
Yeah.
watching her going through the program. And that
Mhm.
it was a very emotional moment too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So think about that. Your spouse or partner notices your change and you're affecting that person, your loved one, because you are showing what is possible to change. So that is what creating a practice, building a career looks like. And that's when I say change your face, change your life. Okay. And let's go. This is what it looks like all together. Are you ready to see it? So every pillar, every live workshop, study groups, final assessment, and everything that comes after graduation. Do you see now how everything we built was created to assume to make sure that you are going to be successful and nothing is left to change. Like we really thought about this process. Everything is intentional. Okay. So let's talk about what is possible. Okay. Now, I want to show you something most certification programs never do, and what this actually looks like as a business, not in theory, in practice. And because becoming a certified face yoga teacher isn't just one path, and there are multiple ways to build income with this, as you kind of learned from our presentation now, and they can look very different and depending on where you are starting from. So before we walk you through the four main income streams our graduates use, I want to know how you are feeling right now. Are you feeling motivated? Are you feeling excited? You can't wait to start, or you feel like, oh, can I do this? Or you are interested, but you just don't know. Like you're trying to figure it out how you're feeling. You can put in a chat and let us know. Okay, excited and motivated. Love it. Okay, and very interested. Good. Anxious to find my group. Wow, girls. Oh, you find it. Maybe you can change it. Maybe you can say, yay, girls. How about yay, girls? Yeah. Or like, I think we had a more groups they named differently, right? Like, I don't
Oh,
remember.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Patty. Oh my goodness. I
Oh
know
my
she's going to come up with very
God.
interesting names.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
They're very
can't wait.
creative. Yeah. Think about life. I always say life should be fun. Like why we have to stuck in the box of I have to do this, I have to memorize it. No, 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 no. Remember the nurse, the story? He really pursued 2 years. And I said yes, finally. And then like think about that. If he didn't push me that, I wouldn't be here doing this, and you'd be here watching us. So think about it. What is possible? Everything is possible. You create in your head, and when you can see it, you can feel it, it shows up. And that's what also Maria teaches you too. And then you get pushed out of your comfort zone. Okay, so let's go. Woohoo! People are motivated. So
Good.
group classes, these are the most accessible starting points for most graduate. Okay, let me tell you. In person, at a yoga studio or studio, any studio, a gym, a yoga space, or even a corporate office. Okay? Or online, on Zoom, which means your potential students can be anywhere in the world. And 2 group classes a week, 10 students each at $30 per person. That's $2,400 a month. Okay, from just 2 classes a week. And if you are already teaching yoga, like Naomi was, or Pilates, or any kind of group format, you may already have the room, the students, and the schedule. You are editing a session, not building from scratch, right? So that's one, group classes. Yes. And then let's go to second one. How about private session, Naomi? Can you talk about that? Because you
Yeah,
do.
absolutely. I do. So private sessions are the one-on-ones, the highest ticket item, and the most personal. These can be done online or in person. Graduates, like it says on the slide, typically charge about $75 to $200 per hour, depending on their market. Now let's do the math. If you had 5 private sessions a week, that means you only teach once a day at $100. That's $2,000 a month. And private clients tend to stay. They see results, they trust you, and they come back. If you're a massage therapist, an esthetician, a health coach, you probably already have these one-on-one clients. Adding face yoga to your classes or your sessions is often a simple conversation. I personally find the private sessions the most rewarding. Obviously, this is just me, but you really get to know your clients on a deeper level. It's not just the superficial face, but their patterns, their habits, and even their emotions. And because of that, you're able to support them in a very focused, intentional way, which is why the changes can come pretty quickly in a way that feels very personal to them. So I recently welcomed two new private clients apart from my existing clients just this month in March. And within just 2 to 3 weeks, because we're March 21st right now, it's 3 weeks, um, just this week, we're already seeing visible changes in their photos. And what stood out to me wasn't just the pictures. Yes, when they sent me the pictures, I didn't even ask for their after pictures or the most recent, but they sent it to me. They're like, Naomi, look at this. But moreover, what really stood out to me was that they were excited and they were encouraged. They're learning new ways to make their daily practice bite-sized so they remain consistent. And they're genuinely looking forward to the next session. And as a teacher, that is the best feeling that you can get.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. So let's talk about the next one, the collaboration events. Okay. So corporate wellness programs and a yoga studio, a skincare brands and retreat centers, organizations that already have an audience and a budget for wellness. So one of our graduates was paid $6,000 for 90 minutes corporate session. Yeah, corporate usually have more money, right? Yeah. And then those opportunity take more outreach to set up, of course, but the payoff per event is significant. And they expand your network in ways that regular classes do not. And I've been through experiences like this. I did lots of, corporate wellness retreat and programs, and it can feel very uncomfortable at first. Like, oh my gosh, so many people, and oh, that company is so famous. Like, can I do it? Okay. And it for sure push you out of your comfort zone. And Naomi came to some of these events with me. And so she sees, in firsthand how it's like in front, but also behind, preparing and all that. But that's where transformation happens. You grow, you expand because you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And when you look back, you're amazed how much you grow. And at the same time, you're stepping into a new high level of something you never even thought possible, and personally and professionally. So if you have been following our teaching around the world sessions, you heard Anita saying that she paid back her investment in 4 days with a partnership with a wellness center. Yeah. So it was such a great story to hear from Anita too. Like, oh, go for it, girl. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I was so happy when she told me about it too. I still remember. She's like, Naomi. I was like, what? And we were like celebrating together. I was on Zoom with her when she told me about it. It was so nice. All right, let's talk about the fourth method, and that is the retreat. Retreats are multi-day, immersive, often destination based. Let's do the math again. Let's say you get 10 participants, each pay 1,500 each. That's $15,000 from one event. Our own Maria Papukidi, remember, she is the one who will be teaching you the pose workshop. She runs face yoga retreats in Ikaria, Greece every year, and every year she is sold out. Now, retreats do take planning, but one single successful retreat can cover your entire certification investment many times over. Now, what I love about these four income streams that we just talked about is that you don't have to choose one. Most of our graduates combine them and they start with something that's most tangible for them. So it could be a group class with friends and family, or a private session who's been listening to your TCC journey and they're like, oh, I can't wait for you to teach me once you're certified. Start from there and everything expands. What I also love about it, because a lot of us have other peripheral responsibilities and we're not always able to take out 8 to 10 hours of our lives all the time. So, depending on where your life cycle may be, you may have a newborn child, you may have to be taking care of your parents, you may have to take care of whatever it may be. You can shift throughout your life to do a couple of these depending on where your life meets you. So, for example, if I were, I have kids who are doing college applications and et cetera, et cetera. I have a lot going on, which is why I gear towards private sessions right now, because I don't have the headspace to be able to do retreats. But once I become an empty nester, you betcha I'm going to be planning those things. So as your life changes, your life cycle changes, your face yoga business can change as well.
Mm, thank you, Naomi. So true. So true. Empty nester. Ooh, very soon, right? 2 more years? All right. Now, when does all of this actually start? Let's go into the practical part. Okay. Here's what most people do not realize. You do not wait until you graduate to begin building. You start during teacher certification course. So the 6 month inside the program are not time to wait. We don't ask you like, okay, wait until you finish the course. No, no, no. It's time to build your foundation, your confidence, and your first clients, or your group of, like a wild girls. You're creating that space that you really feel comfortable and then rely on trust and supporting each other. And most graduates start with the people already in their lives and friends and family, existing clients and colleagues. Like Naomi was saying that. And you practice on them during the program. And then many of these relationships become your first paying clients before you even graduate. I think we had a students, the friends were asking them, like, oh, I can't wait to really start practicing with you and I'll pay you and please teach me because the friends were so excited or interested and excited that the students were learning face yoga method program. So they could not wait. Their friends could not wait to actually take lessons. So finding your first 5 people doesn't require an audience or website or running ad. Okay? It requires a conversation. And if you're already in wellness, if you already have a client who trust you, that becomes even simpler. And you're not starting from zero, right? You're editing something new to a relationship that already exists. An esthetician who adds face yoga to a treatment, and a yoga teacher who added to a class. At the end of a class, I had a student saying, yeah, I started showing one pose at the end of my yoga class. And the people were interested, like, what are you doing? What is that? I like to learn more about the face yoga. Okay, so you're editing into it. And a massage therapist who introduces it to a client already on the table. Yes, I have a friend. Yep, she's a massage therapist. And then she wants to learn face yoga. I don't know if she's gonna join this year, but what she said that like I teach, I do all the massage and the facial on the table. And at the end, I show clients your poses and they're interested. And then, say, hey, this is a homework you do until you see me next time. So probably she's gonna join me maybe next year. Yeah, she has 2 young kids and she said it's just a little bit hectic right now. So from
Can I
day
just add one thing? Because you had something really good to say.
one,
I know there's a couple of massage therapists in 2025 too. And for anybody who is like an esthetician or who's doing the hands-on work, who are kind of like, okay, in a couple of years, I probably want to get off of that. We have many people who come in who get the certification because they want to slowly weave off that physical demanding work, right? So they're beginning to build into it so that they can remove themselves from that physical because with face yoga, you're able to basically teach without having to do the work on them. And it can be taxing as we age, right? And so we've had, I think, three or four last year who were massage therapists aiming in a couple of years. So they're going to bring face yoga into their practice and slowly, gradually move away from massage therapy to be able to only teach face yoga, so it's less taxing on the physical body, but also get more time freedom so that they can teach whenever, wherever they want.
Ah, I love that. And I remember actually we had a couple students that they were pregnant. Remember during TCC? And the one girl, she had, I think, already three students, and then she was pregnant with a fourth, but she was getting ready, to teach. So like she was preparing where she wants to go after she had all the kids. Yeah, and powerful, powerful. Like everything is, what do you say? Everybody's different, and every vision you have, you can make it when you start really feeling it and thinking about that. That's your path. All right. So now I want to be honest with you about timeline because we're talking about the timeline. So it's a perfect place because different people build differently. And that is okay. We're not asking you, hey, you have to follow one of these four pillars of teaching or how you spread the face yoga. And based on what you've seen, or we've seen across over 1,000 of graduate, there are three realistic paths. So let's talk about that, Naomi.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So the left bottom in green, that's called fast track.
Mhm.
These are graduates who hit the ground running. They implement everything, they leverage their existing network immediately, and they start building during their teacher certification course. So while they go through the course, they start building. For these graduates, the investment is typically about they recoup it in about 3 to 6 months of graduating.
Okay, and I'll take the next one then. So study growth. So these graduates build alongside their existing life and income, and they're not in a rush, and they're building something sustainable alongside what they already have. And most see their investment return within like a 6 to 12 month because they're not in a hurry. They're just steadily growing the business. Yeah.
Yeah, and just as sitting as a former graduate, I am in this bucket. I was the steady growth bucket. And what I will say though is I was only teaching workshops once a week. So literally, like let that sink in. I was only teaching once a week and I was able to recoup in 7 months. Like that's pretty amazing. That's like an hour a week. So that's what, 4 hours? Obviously, prep work and all that aside, my actual active working was 4 hours, recouping in 7 months. That's pretty good a return on investment, I think. All right, I'm going to go into the integration, the pink one right there on the box. These are the wellness professionals who are starting fresh. They're adding face yoga on top to their existing practice. The timeline looks a little bit different here because the goal is different. It's not about recouping an investment. It's about deepening what they already offer, attracting more clients, and charging more for what they do. The return shows up in their existing business, not as a separate income stream. Now, whichever path fits your life, the program is built to support all three. The tools are there, the community is there, we are there for sure. What determines your path is how you use what's given.
Mm, I mean, I'm going to add one more thing on the investment. Okay. So with our 12-month payment plan, you can start getting a return on your investment before you finish paying. And the investment starts working for you before it even complete. And that changes the math entirely, right? When you do the math.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's go to the next one. Let me tell you what's available right now. TCC or Teacher Certification Course 26 opens this June and it runs through November. And we are in our early bird enrollment window. which means the investment is lower than it will be at $4,500. After the deadline, it goes to 5,500. So you are saving $1,000 just by enrolling during early bird. And our 12-month payment plan at $399 a month is available exclusively during this period, early bird period. Okay? Once this window closes, it closes.
Now, I think a lot of the students right now or the people watching right now, they're thinking, okay, what's my next step, right? So let's talk about that. There are two steps or two ways for your next step. Option one, apply now. The application is free. It only takes a few minutes and it's not a commitment. It's just opening up the possibilities. It tells us that you're interested and we can get the process moving to see if you want to commit. The second one is if you want to talk to someone who has been through the teacher certification program before you decide, you can book a free discovery call with a graduate teacher who has been through this program themselves. And the link, I think, is going to be on the chat.
Mm.
So take a look at that.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, don't miss the opportunity. And before we open for questions, I know probably many of you have a questions. Okay, one more thing. The nurse, Mr. Nakano, who wrote to me for 2 years, didn't know exactly what would happen when he finally got the yes from me. He just knew he couldn't stop writing. There's something in his head like, I gotta do this, I gotta keep writing. Like I said no so many times, 2 years. But the pull he had was telling him something true. If you feel something like that today, please pay attention to it. It's not your head, it's your mind. You're saying something, and then please listen to that. The application takes probably 7 minutes or so. So do it before you close this window. Okay, so are you ready, Naomi, to take questions? The
Yeah.
Q&A. All right, let's start. Let's open up, okay? What questions do we have? Let's see, I want to take questions here. Okay, I think there's a question here. And then Emma said, I know I have a really busy autumn or fall, as you would say, and I'm worried about keeping up. If life gets in the way mid-program, is it possible to get an extension, or is 6 months a hard deadline for certification? Okay. Can you answer that, Naomi? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So the curriculum is actually designed with busy lives in mind. I think Fumiko touched upon, a graduate before where she had 4 kids. So maybe not full-time, full-time worker, but she's a full-time mom with 4 kids. I don't know how she did it, but anyway. So she was able to manage. We have numerous people like that. But the way we've designed the program, the modules are released the first of every month, so you know when it's coming. And the assignments have very generous timelines. It's not like, okay, we release it 3 weeks later, you've got to do it. Absolutely not. So in a sense, it's very self-paced and everything is recorded. Even our live workshops, replays are available 24 hours after it, so you don't have to be there live and you can actually learn on your own schedule. So most students will have full-time jobs or family commitments and they make it work. And if life really does get in the way, there is always an option to postpone to the following year. So you don't have to worry about that. All
Okay.
right, so let's go on to the next one. Um, Anna, what about people living in Mexico? I think these prices could be considered high in my country. Fumiko, let's talk about
Sure.
that.
Okay, so those numbers reflect markets like in the US or Europe. So your rates would reflect your own market too. And once you're certified, you can teach online too, which open the door to students anywhere in the world. And then one girls, I think one lives in Mexico too, and she
Hmm.
does online and also in person. Yeah, so think about that. Okay. But also I want to add this one too. Don't don't sell cheap, you know. You get certified. Like really, we give you so much information. So you think you are qualified more than you think when you graduate. Yeah. Okay, so Julia said, wondering how the live sessions work as in time of day. I'm in UK, so GMT. This time zone starts at 4 p.m. in UK. Okay, Naomi.
Yeah. So the live workshops vary in timing. Maria Papoukidis in Greece, Fumiko's in California, I'm in Hawaii. We all live in different time zones, so the workshop will vary depending on where we live. But everything, like I said earlier, everything is going to be recorded and it will be available 24 hours afterwards. One other note, the workshops are on a Friday. The reason why we make it on a Friday is so that for whoever works full time, your weekends are usually when you have a little bit of time and space. We want to be able to deliver the recordings by the time you wake up for the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, for you to watch it. So if a session doesn't land at your good timing, and I'm sure it's not going to for all of them because we all three of us live in different areas, it's okay because you have the replay and you won't miss a thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Jane is saying, can one get the full experience of the training if working 9 to 5 and assuming live sessions are during the daytime in the US?
Absolutely. So the book of the program, modules and materials and assignments is all self-paced. So you walk through it whenever suit you. Like I said, Naomi said that you can even walk on weekends. And then there are 18 live workshops throughout the 6 months, and every single one is recorded and available within 24 hours. So many of our graduates have gone through teacher certification course while working full time, or some of them had a four, no, three kids and a one baby in a way. And it's really, genuinely like we built intentionally for that so that you can get the full experience just on your own schedule. Okay. They can also submit any question in advance. So, for example, you can't come to my workshop, you can't go to Naomi's workshop. So, you send a question before the workshop so that we talk about that during our live workshops. Does it make sense? Yeah. Okay, Deborah said, is this certification international? Yeah.
Absolutely. Face Yoga Method is a globally recognized company. And even for yourselves, you're not students yet, and you notice how global the audience is. We have, like we said, over 1,000 certified teachers across 91 countries. Now, if you're a registered yoga teacher with Yoga Alliance, you can credit up to 100 hours of this teacher certification course towards the continuous education. So in Yoga Alliance. So yes, it is globally recognized.
Okay,
Um, how often do you run the program?
once in a year. Yeah.
Exactly. 2026, it is only from June to December. It's one cohort.
Yep.
And I'm sure you can appreciate why. It's because it is the most comprehensive and the longest course to give you for you to become the best version as a teacher who understands not only the knowledge, but the ability to actually teach in the manner that we would love for you to be at, like that level. So yes, it is only once a year, unfortunately, but that is the reason why it's so comprehensive.
Yes, thank you. And Naomi, Moira asked, do you offer insurance? Let's talk about that. Yeah.
Okay, that's an interesting one. That's something that really varies by country and local regulations. So it's not something we're able to advise on directly. We'd recommend you checking with your local insurance provider in your area to find out what applies to you. Just for reference for yourselves, because I do have my own business. And I actually I had my own business. I originally was certified in Singapore first because I was living there for a couple of years before I moved to Hawaii. And so the regulations and just the culture is so different that the type of insurance I had is vastly different. And obviously, right now, living in Hawaii, my insurance provider is a US insurance provider. So, yeah. you would just go for yourself. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. And Katja, may I ask you about the costs of TCC? You want to take that?
I'll take that. Yeah, so 12-month payment plan, $399 a month, or one-time payment of $4,500 until April 12th. That's an early bird special. And the price goes up after that. So if you're thinking, grab this opportunity. Okay. All right. I think, oh, there's more questions coming. And Jane, the period assessment, sorry, are there periodic assessments of one's own techniques, skills as you go through the program?
Mm, okay, so can I answer that?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the pose workshop, we touched on it earlier, but Maria Pampukiti will be looking at whether or not you're performing one of the most challenging. We'll pick a couple of most challenging poses to make sure everybody is doing everything in the right manner based off of their anatomy. In terms of the teaching skills, um, I don't like saying assessing because, like we said, we want you to thrive as your own self as a teacher. But in our teaching workshops, you go into cohorts, small groups, and you teach. When you're teaching, I will be popping into your small classes to observe where things are at and advise based off of that. You also get an assignment not in the not at the beginning of the course, but towards the middle to the end, where you will be asked to actually teach and record yourself. There will be two. One will be for you to just get used to the camera, etc., because we don't want you to feel like, oh, I'm being assessed. The second one will be for us, Maria and I, to look through every single one of your videos and give you feedback of what your strengths are and where we think you can improve on so that you will be the best version of yourself by the final assessment, which is the official one. But we make sure that you gradually go up to that level. So, yes, we do that.
And people love final assessment, right? They get nervous, but after they get the feeling of how they were, it's not, yeah, like Naomi said that it's not I don't know how to say that. You did this wrong or wrong. It's almost like a giving the support what you're missing in the teaching. So take it as a way that you really get the juice and get the love at the end of the certification. And so many people cry. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's say Millie said, if I miss some lessons on your schedule, you told us they are recorded. Just to be sure, it is just 24 hours. Okay. And I can answer that too. They are uploaded, yeah, within 24 hours, they have forever, and you have a forever access to everything. Forever access. Okay. So core modules, recordings, and any other updates after the class.
Yep. And remember, like we said, we evolve.
Yeah.
We evolve every Fumiko and I have already sat down for 2026 and how we can do better than 2025. So you're going to get some new stuff compared to 2025.
Yeah.
Once you sign up as a 2026 student, you will also get access to 2027. So any new updates, any new involvements by Face Yoga Method, you will have access to that because we believe that graduates from Face Yoga Method should evolve along with us. As we grow, we would like you to grow as well.
Yeah. True. Totally.
So I think we have another question. I love these questions.
I know.
Um, Katja, could you please let us know how many participants will be expected? I'm asking as you mentioned that each student will be seen and helped individually. So Fumiko, can you answer that?
Okay. So we kept the class at 100 students, and that's, was me in my workshop, and Naomi with the teaching, and a Maria Pampkiri with the poses, and a Maria Calancini with marketing, and a business mindset plus the face yoga method supporting team. yeah, we can handle that number. And of course, because not everybody shows up in a live classes, so we are able to give very good care and support with those number of students. Okay. And Agema said, I don't have a computer at the moment. I only have a mobile. Do I need a computer or tablet? Will do. Naomi, what do you think?
Well, if you have a tablet will totally do. I'm assuming like an iPad kind of thing. That's totally fine. A mobile device is so tiny. I don't know about you, but my eyes are kind of going. So I'd be like, what? You know, even with glasses or something. So I would recommend a tablet more than a mobile phone, but devices are not really the main point here. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you shouldn't worry.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Do you think it's good? Oh, there's more questions coming in.
Okay, let me see.
All right. So Jane said, if not attending live in a course workshop, does one still get feedback on how doing the techniques? Sorry if I don't pick up on the answer previously. So Naomi, can you answer that?
Yeah, sure. So I understand for live work, the pose workshops, whether or not if you're not there live, will you be able to? It's going to be really hard in terms of that moment because we're not going to be able to see you, right? But you should not fret. I didn't want to say this, but I'm going to say it now. If times allows, in my teaching workshop, I will also try to do the same thing in terms of that challenging pose. So in an ideal world, we're going to try to do that type of feedback twice a month. Obviously, for the teaching workshop, my biggest priority is making sure that you can teach a class. So we have different activities that we're going to do there, but if time allows, and I'm going to do my best to try to do that as well. So at least you have two potential opportunities to do it. That said, apart from that, if you cannot join any of these live workshops, that is fine because when you actually I told you that two assignments are going to be where you record and teach. One is where we actually give you feedback with regards to the objective is mainly how the strengths of your teaching as well as how you could potentially do better. In addition to that, we are checking whether or not, as you teach, whether or not you're doing the poses correctly as well. And
Mhm.
don't worry, one pose across the multitudes of poses that we have there is not there's not 52 ways of doing, each pose. So we as face yoga teachers who've been doing this for a very long time, there is an overarching gist that we look for, whether or not you're doing something right or wrong. And even if you're doing one pose, we will know and we can give you feedback that would apply to, I would say, at least 25% of the poses if you need adjustment. So we will give you that feedback on your assignments as
I want to
well.
add that too, Naomi. And also, if you decided to join the, let's say, non-mandatory study group, they're going to give you feedback too. That's why one of the purposes of study groups, so that you guys can help each other. And then another thing is when I teach my workshop, I give you the reason why you do this, so that you understand the big picture. And then with that understanding, deep understanding of why you do this, let's say release, you get that. And then you apply it to your pose. And there's a moment, like some people get aha moments, like, oh, now I know why I have to put the finger there because of the why Humiko taught in a class. So
Yeah.
don't worry too much about that. Like I can't come to a live class and who is gonna adjust. We'll give you enough feedback and you get the enough feedback from your the if you decided to join, which I highly recommend, the what do you call the study group. Okay. And I'll take this question to Deborah. Um, is the payment option available if you don't sign up on the early bird or only if you sign up before April 12th? Okay, Naomi, can you take that? Yeah.
Sure. The 12-month installment plan that we talked about earlier is available only during the early bird until April 12th. There will be another payment option later. It's going to be the four installments for $1,500. So it's quite a significant difference. But yes, so it's For the early bird, the 12 installment payment plan, you do need to sign up by April 12th. All right. Oh, Katja, does access forever mean lifetime access or just a limited period of time after having completed TCC?
So lifetime access. Yeah.
Okay. She's like, yay! I see thumbs up from her.
And
Awesome.
I'm gonna tell something. After you graduate, there's a place you can go to, right? We have now. You want to just spill that? Yeah, spill that. Yeah.
So after you graduate, we also have a community of all the certified graduates from Face Yoga Method, and you have exclusive access to Fumiko, where she goes in to do periodic workshops. It is obviously it's when she feels the need to kind of teach something more deeper to her graduates. Obviously, we cannot provide that type of information to people who haven't gone through the teacher certification course because your knowledge isn't there yet, right? So there's an exclusive place after graduation. We don't just say, see ya, good luck. We have a community, we have a cohort. We love the people who graduate with us. We want people. I mean, Fumiko loves people succeeding. I mean, she is just mwah, amazing with regards to that. Everyone is her children, right? She mentors continuously. So we do have something like that. You can share ideas with each other. You know, hey, I'm doing this class. What kind of sequence makes sense? What do you think about this? I'm experiencing this. You make it your own inside that community, right? And you have a place, a sounding board with not cohorts, other graduates, and you can not only get to know them, but kind of pick their brains as well, because we're all going through similar journeys as a teacher.
And then
And by the way, it
uh,
is free. You get it for free. Fumiko was so happy with regards to that too.
I am so excited because that's where I can go deep and yeah. So, but you have to go through a TC. The certification course first to go to the graduate program. But I was talking to coaches, Naomi and then Maria, Kitty and Tina the other day, and I told them like, oh, I have a new idea. The theory I am going to share. They're like, wait, that's you gotta wait. You gotta wait to share that to the TCC graduate because that's just somewhere, some that's so far. But that's a place that, like I said, we are evolving constantly. And to get to that place, you got to walk through this certification course first because it's it's like a never ending, a peeling onion. So fun and exciting. And let's go. I think this is it, right? I think we covered pretty much all the questions we see so far. And if you have more questions, and also if you sign up and then want to talk to a graduate, um, you can make a what do you call that schedule to make a call, right? I know there is yeah. Anything else? Da, da, da. I think that's good. Okay. Okay.
Oh, I think there's one more.
Yeah.
Um, Sue, she's
Okay.
saying there's testing. I am bad in testing. Will you let us know
Oh,
during lessons what is going to be on the test? Hmm.
you can
Okay.
talk about that because you
Can
asked
I?
me. Yeah.
Okay. So it's called the final assessment. I'm just going to spill the beans right now. You're going to become a teacher, so the final assessment is going to be where you will be teaching a 30-minute class. We ideally would like you to invite someone so you're not just teaching a flat blank screen, but it's just for us to, I don't like the word assessment.
Mm.
And Fumiko makes a point about this. It is our jobs, it is the course's job to make you the best teacher. And if you go through the course as it's supposed to be, it is not an assessment, it is a place to showcase how much you've grown as a teacher. And I hope you let that sink in because I understand that certifications are supposed to be a certain way and everything, but there's a subtle but huge nuance to Fumiko and this course. We are not here to judge you. We are here to make you the best version. And that is embedded in the way she thinks, and it has osmosis trickulated to everyone. So I would never use the word test. It is there for you to showcase. It is for you to thrive. It is for a platform for you to be able to be like, I gave it my all for 5 months. This is how I am. And of course, we still want to give you some feedback. So we still will. There will be good ones. And again, maybe you consider doing this kind of thing, right? But hopefully, we've prepared you enough so that you know exactly what you need to do and what to expect. So do not
Beautiful.
worry, you're not tested, right, Fumiko? I really didn't feel like I was being tested when I went through the final assessment.
Oh, no, 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 you said it beautifully. And then, I just want to go back to evolving. Why we want to evolve? Not because we want to add the new information, but we always talk about how can we make our students be successful? Right? How can we each students feel they are ready to teach? And that's why we want to evolve based on that. And then when Naomi and then Maria Pamkiri, they go through the assessment. I don't want to say testing, assessment, and they say, oh, they need this. So like, okay, let's implement that part during the class so that during the course of 6 months so that they feel so ready, so confident. Do you feel the difference? Yeah, that's why we want to evolve. I don't want to just write it, same thing and use it same thing over and over. It's easy for us if we just use, rinse and repeat, but I don't like to do that because we know how we can make it better and then why not apply to every single year. Thank you, team, for letting us do it. I know it drives because it involves, right? The team effort, all the effort and back end, everything have to be changed, not everything, but so many things we are doing, and we feel so confident watching all the graduate thriving when they graduate. And I want to be one of these. All right.
Yeah,
So
Sue. Right, one more question from Sue. Is there continued education? Is there a specific certified board? So goes back to that free graduate benefit that I told you that we spoke about earlier. You get a community of all the certified graduates. I'll just give you an example of like we're doing a workshop in April specifically exclusively for graduates. Fumiko's going to be teaching a couple of things in there, including some case studies. Again, case studies are only for teachers who understand the method. We could never teach that, in other platforms. So it's very specific and catered. Is that continued education? Absolutely, because you get to understand how Fumiko has grown, her new techniques, and feedback as how she's analyzing people, or feedback as to how she thinks, the way she's evolved. So absolutely, that is the free platform where you will receive that. It's not going to be monthly, obviously, because she's not going to be churning new content or new knowledge. She's slowly, as she continues and she wraps it and packages it well, that's when we're ready to showcase it to the graduates. So yes, that is the platform. And then Gemma, what about language? I can understand everything, but I don't have the vocabulary. I cannot spell English.
I can say something about this too. Okay. Think about this. I'm not a native English speaker. If I had stayed in a comfort zone speaking just Japanese, you wouldn't be here. There's not gonna be face yoga method, online right now. When I started 22 years ago, there's no word existed face yoga. I was scared to make a first video, 2 minutes video. It took me 6 hours and 2 or 3 glasses of wine. Posted. There's no social media, so I just posted to YouTube. And there's so many students with different language, like 91 countries people coming from. And then some students have a hard time to, write in English. But now we have an app, and then Naomi, maybe you can help that, explain a little bit more because you've seen students, yeah, what do you call that? Evaluation and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Sue, I would not. It's easy to say don't worry, but I'm going to give you details of what actually happens because there are so many people. I would say about half, more than half. are not native English speakers, right, Fumiko, in our
Yeah,
cohort?
yeah,
It's very international. And so what happens is that in the assessments, your written assessments and your videos, they will need to be in English. We don't care if it's broken English. Like we said, we are here to make you the best version as a teacher. I don't care if you can't spell. Who cares? I mean, gone are the days, right? Who cares? But the essence of it, we would like to understand. And if you do it in a different language, it becomes very hard for us to understand. So that's what it is. We're not checking for your English capabilities. If you struggle and if you pause, totally fine. Now, for the final assessment, that test, you can do it in your own language. And the only reason why we're able to say, yeah, you've got this, we'll check your class in your language is because throughout the course, we've monitored how you've done in the language that we all standardized understand, which is English. And then we'll have an idea of where you are so that when we see you in your native tongue, we already have the background to be able to better understand, if that makes sense. So your final assessment will can be in your native tongue. You can choose to do it in English. I mean, we have many people who speak a different language but prefer English just because they've gone through the course so much in English. They're like, I actually feel more comfortable in English. Some people are like that, and some people are like, no, I'd rather do it in my native tongue. Now, I've had people who literally could not communicate in English in their final assessment. What they've done, we're all creative beings. They've brought their child, their spouse, their friend who is a better English speaker so that they can translate during the final assessment. They become the student and then they translate at the end when we provide feedback. Another way, if you just don't have anybody who speaks English, thank you, technology. I've literally shared my screen with Google Translate to type. So I do, for example, the most recent one person was a Mandarin speaker. So I had Google Translate. I'm not sure if you've seen it. On the left side is English. I would type, right side is Chinese, I would write it and she would see the translation, be like, yes, or she'd be like, and I'd try to redo it. It takes a little bit longer for the final assessment. But this is a very important step for your journey, and we are never going to leave you in a state where you don't feel comfortable. And just remember, like Fumiko, this is her second language. For me, I speak Japanese as well. And so, and growing up, language is a really hard thing to understand. Maria Pampakiti, also not a first language English speaker. She's Greek. So I think this community of people understand that language is not the barrier for what you're trying to achieve. That is the last thing we look at. So I hope you understand. We have a lot of understanding.
and also, I think because so international, everybody understand each other differently. That makes this community so unique, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If everybody's English speaker, if I'm English speaker, everybody, and then you feel like I'm minority, but no, more than 50% of people are non-English speaker. Not English, it's not English is not first language. Right. So, all right. Well, thank you, everybody. Sorry, we got a little longer than 90 minutes, but I hope you understand what we wanted to share.
I think
And
we have one more to
oh,
go.
question.
One
Oh,
last one. So I'll
oh,
do this one quickly because it's more
okay.
of, so what's the payment method do you accept?
Oh, okay.
Credit card, debit card, Google Pay are available. And for any other payment method, you can just email tcc@faceyogamethod.com and we will see if it's possible. So
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So again, thank you so much for being here today. A Saturday, precious time. I really appreciate that. And I built this program because I believed that right certification could actually change someone's life. Why I can say that? Because I've seen it over and over and over. And it's not just at the line to your resume. That's not, I'm not interested in that. But genuinely take someone somewhere they could not get to alone. And over 1,000 teachers later, across 91 countries, remember 91 countries, I've watched that happen again, again, and again. And coaches and team, we shed tears with excitement and happiness because we feel like we are really changing people's life. And I'm not just saying lightly, it's a bold statement, but that's so true. In different languages, in different life situations, in different starting points. And it still moves us every time, really. And I hope today this presentation gave you the whole picture. And I hope to see you inside 2026 teacher certification course. And application is in a chat. And it takes about 7 minutes, okay? And this is just the beginning of the conversation. And really listen to your heart in a little tiny voice. If you want to change something, it has to start within you. Okay. Thank you, loves. And I can't wait to have fun. I'm a kind of person I want to have fun in life because I don't take things for granted. So I hope you don't take this presentation for granted. Think about it. It applies to you. It's yours. And if you think like, it's not for me, that's okay. This is not for everyone. But for those who even have a little bit of like, the pull, think about that. Okay? And Naomi, is there any word you want to share as a
Yeah,
final?
thank you, Fumiko. I shared earlier about how this journey has changed my life, and it didn't happen all at once. It started with the decision to try something, to explore something, and to say yes to something that felt meaningful. So, looking back, that one decision shaped so much of where I am today. And if you find that yourself wanting to go deeper and explore what could potentially be for you and how you could potentially guide others, that's exactly what this teacher certification course is here for. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart for staying here with us and listening to us on a Saturday. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Love you. Bye.
The whole body is so connected that I was like, okay, why didn't I think of it before? And it just caught my heart. Fumiko reached out to me, not just because of the science of it, but she was the person that I could see, I could trust to teach me something great.
And her face yoga particularly interested me because I'm always on the lookout for natural ways to combat the signs of aging. And I was so amazed by the program. It's so professionally done, so organized, and the program is so easy to follow. And Fumiko herself, she is just inspirational.
Fumiko shared her knowledge. She answered each and every question. Her enthusiasm was contagious, and learning was fun. From the beginning, we were also made aware of more practical concerns of marketing a business or incorporating face yoga into an existing business. In short, how to make our projects come alive.
It was intimidating for me because I'd never done anything online, but their entire program is so well put together, and the way they had set it all up, they did a really fine job with it.
For me, the biggest deciding factor were two things. Number one, it had to be Fumiko. The energy and the vibrance coming off of this woman and her dedication to people shine through. And so with all of those things, I'm thrilled. I mean, I had to borrow the money to do it, and it was worth it 1,000-fold for me. I mean, probably 10,000-fold. It's literally changed my life.
It really felt like a learning experience for me. She's an amazing person, as we all know, but on one-on-one, she just blew my mind. She has so much love and so much acceptance that when you come out of this assessment, you feel you're okay, that you're going to do good. Thank you, Fumiko, for allowing me to experience this with you, or you allowing me to experience it. It was absolutely amazing.
This has been a wonderful journey. I'm so happy to be part of this community.
So I tell all of you that are struggling, just do it. This whole TCC group, Fumiko and her team, everything is amazing. I have learned a lot. I have seen so many strong, positive women, and it's an honor to know all.
I just thought, oh, I'm going to be changing my face, but as Fumiko says, change your face, change your life.
TCC has been a journey. I don't think I appreciated how much of a journey it was going to be when I signed up. It's been amazing. It's been life-changing.
The biggest takeaway I have is that this is for me, and yes, I can. And the course structure, content, the teaching, the support, and the study group, the most insanely beautiful study group that I've managed to connect with through this course has all given me the belief and understanding that this is for me. And yeah, I loved it all.
You can do it. You're going to thrive. Just go for it. This is, I told myself from the beginning that this is going to be my birthday present, and this has been like the greatest and biggest present that I have given myself in a long, long time.
It was really one of the best things which I have ever made in my life. So thank you very much, and I wish you really, all of you, all the best.
I made myself a vision board, and there you are, Fumiko. It's right there. I manifested it.
Thank you very much for the encouraging words and letting me know what I can do better.
Thank you. It's been a journey, and I'm gonna get emotional about this now.
Thank you so much to Fumiko, Naomi, Maria C, Maria P, for giving all your heart and soul to this TCC program to change my life completely. Thank you so much for the bottom of my heart, and I will never forget you. Thank you. Bye.